quick tidbit on noxious weed disposal. So you are not allowed to put these plants in your yard waste cart. Except, you can see here, it has not gone to seed yet. And you can fry the plant. Put it out on concrete like this and let it dry and fry in the sun, right? And you just leave this here for a few days to kill off the roots and everything, because this is mostly water. That concrete is hot, and it's just going to get hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's going to fry the plant, which of course dries out the roots, and that plant is gone. So that, once this is fully dried out to heck, like yay, then you can go ahead and put it in your yard waste container. But I nipped it in the bud before it went to sleep, hence the term, right? So yeah, I'm using my trenching shovel to just dig up the active plants. I don't care whether they come back or not, because I have decided I am going to use my weed and feed in the fall, and give him a chance to fully eradicate and this to take over. But in the meantime, to prevent reseeding and all that stuff, I'm just digging it up. I don't care if it comes back or not, because I'm zapping it with a good sized fall. So there you go. You can let these things, as long as they haven't gone to seed, you can let them fry in the sun. It looks ugly, but it is effective. And then once the plant is completely dead, guaranteed, then you can put it in your yard waste cart. If it has gone to seed, please don't, because tomato seeds, for example, are extremely indestructible. I don't know how indestructible these seeds are, right? So you want to be sure that the seeds are not mature enough to germinate, that it's still flowering. And you can see these seed pods here. They're not mature enough. Those seeds have not been in there long enough to really be able to germinate and grow a plant. Also, I'm frying it, right? So there is one way that we're supposed to deal with noxious weeds. One disposal method that they do say is okay if you have a yard waste cart. So it looks ugly temporarily. You'll notice I have the black trash bags around my yard. That is me solarizing dirt to get rid of the weed seeds, right? So it's ugly temporarily, but it's worth the effort, because I am planning on at least redoing my lawn, and then I'll have to go ahead and, like the neighbor, do regular herbicide to get this under control and eradicate it, at least in my yard. It's still going to be a problem with the one neighbor that just doesn't feel like participating in it. But at least I get it controlled in my yard, and I am not taking my seeds and reinfesting his, right? Or the alleyway, or anyone else's, okay? It is hard work, but it's super effective. And I'm going to show you right now how I did it via your cultural control. So this was a lot of that quackgrass I mentioned, right? See, here's some here that's coming up. But this whole thing was quackgrass, and look at it now. I pitched this whole thing up. Once it gets into your lawn, you're screwed. But I can pitchfork this up, and I tore out all those stones. So this was all quackgrass, and you can see how just in this small area, bye-bye, right? Okay, so here's the blight that I have. Unfortunately, I spread it all over my yard. That's another video, but another thing about blight is, if you have blight, sorry you guys, do not, under any circumstances, put that in your yard waste cart, okay? Because fungus is one of the oldest living organisms, and that means that it is extremely resilient. The theory used to be that hot composting would kill viruses and fungal spores, and there is no guarantee that the entire thing is getting hot enough to destroy anything. It is likely that I did get it from cheap compost, right? Another thing is if you are using a tough herbicide around your lawn and stuff, that's another thing. You want to put it in the garbage. So unfortunately, even though I am taking proper measures to fry these plants, they have to go in the garbage because I have blight. So, and herbicides too. They're having a serious problem with people putting their yard waste that has persistent herbicides on it in their yard waste carts, and it does not come out for years. There's a new stuff that's real nasty and it's killing people's yards because they are not aware it's in there. So it's a pretty decent problem, and you don't want to be spreading problems, right? There was a case of a fellow who used to get manure from a local farm every year, and it was great, it worked, and one year he went and got manure and killed his entire garden after introducing the manure. So he went back to the farmer and he asked, "Are you using anything new?" And he said, "Well, yeah, there's this new stuff that's great. I love it. Stuff, the weeds never come back. It's awesome." Well, the pesticide is not eradicated via digestion. So that pesticide is taken in by the cattle. They poop it back out. And it's there for years, right? So if you have blight or are using those persistent herbicides and on a regular basis for this control, definitely compost your own stuff, because it takes years to break down. You have years worth of time. This compost is old. I keep turning it. So composting is awesome. And then if you have blight, you can definitely do what I do and cook your compost. And that's how you can then use compost that has been infected by, like I told you, the 250 degrees for a half an hour kills all life. I go through and make sure that all the insects and everything, it's a big job. The millipedes and things like that are not in it anymore, of course. You are going to be destroying everything though, including your good fungus and your good bacteria. Fortunately, these days you can reintroduce that to your soil. But if you have blight, please don't put any of your debris into your yard waste cart to spread the problem. You can see here, look at how nasty that is. So I'll go into the blight further and how screwed I am in another video. But those are two things that are super important to know about using these herbicides and the proper disposal of these noxious plants. You get them before they go to seed, let them fry in the sun, and then yes, as long as you don't have blight, you can then put them in your yard waste cart.